Hi, and welcome to our Take Your Dog to Work Day event. Thank you so much, Halo Gold Pack members, for joining me today. This is one of my favorite things to do. I look so forward to my Tuesdays with you all. And I'm actually excited that we're gonna do a specific event to help you learn what's the best way to take your dog to work. Whether you're taking your dog to work in an office or if you work outside, I wanna give you some tips and tricks to help you succeed and actually really enjoy the day. First, I'll start out by sharing a little bit about myself. As you have probably seen, my name is Heather Mickelson. I am the Senior Trainer at Halo. I've been working with dogs professionally for over 20 years, and I absolutely love it. I'm a big-time nature enthusiast. I love animals of all kinds, but dogs just have always had a really special place in my heart, especially my guys, my little guy Biscuit. You can actually see him on your screen, and Fresno, his best bud, the golden retriever. And I love sharing my everydays with them, as I'm sure you do with your dog as well. And anytime I get a chance to take them to work, it's awesome. And I'm pretty lucky because I get to take them to work often. So I hope that you get the opportunity to take your dog to work, and that's why I love the opportunity to help you out with that. So I'm gonna start out by telling you what we're gonna do today, how I'm gonna approach this. We're gonna start out with some foundational training, just some basics on how to really set your dog up to succeed. Give them an expectation, let them know what they're supposed to do, when, where, and for how long, because this could be something new to your dog. And then we're gonna talk about actually preparing specifically for the actual day when you take your dog to work. And then we're gonna talk about at the office. And when I say at the office, I kind of just mean at your workspace. So I will be talking kind of specifically at an office, but all the things that I'm suggesting can go anywhere with you. So even if like you work from home, or even if you work outside, or like you're a coach, or maybe you're a greenskeeper at a golf course, or a delivery person, or whatever it may be, these things can apply to all job sites, all job locations. And then I'm going to talk about specifically using your Halo collar when you take your dog to work. So let's move forward, and I'll start talking about the foundational training. So these are things that you really should start working on with your dog before the day that you take them to work. And it's things that are going to, like I said, really set your dog up to succeed. So if you think about it, if we have our dog at work with us, 7, 8, 9, however many hours you are at the office, there's gonna be a lot of downtime where they just need to chill and relax. And that's okay, because that's what dogs do when they're at home anyways. It's not like dogs are playing all day. That's actually really unrealistic. They really are just relaxing during the day. So they can do that at the office too. But keep in mind, it might be a new space, some excitement, things that they're not used to. So added distractions, like we talk about with Halo, and added distractions can take their mind away from knowing that they're supposed to be in that calm state of mind. So how can you help? Place work. Place work is, let's see, I have a place board right over here. Place work is an amazing way to teach your dog how to stay in one place and how to stay nice and calm. You can use a dog bed, but I like to use these raised dog beds, because as you can see, there's these feet. And so it actually is like a really set boundary that your dog can be on, and they actually have to step off of it when they are getting off the raised dog bed. This particular brand is K&H. You can see that right there. I think we might have a link for that. I love this brand. They actually have, if you work outdoors, they actually have ones that are cooling cots. So the cot on it actually comes off. So, and then there's also another brand called Kuranda. Those are like super sturdy for dogs that are maybe that chew a lot, that you might be nervous that they might chew on it. But so you want to practice place work before you take your dog to work. That way that then you can put them on place, and they know not just that they go on that place, but they stay on there until you take them off and they relax. We don't want them on there anticipating something else. They get on and they relax. So you want to practice place work. Another big thing is working with them on greeting people. Because whether you work in an office or you have a cubicle or you work outside, there's probably going to be people moving around and passing by. And we don't want our dogs jumping up and thinking like they're supposed to just go right up and greet people right away, right? So you want to practice this before the day. You could, if you have family members or friends, have them come to your front door and like come in. Really work on teaching your dog that just because people are coming and going and coming into their space and leaving doesn't mean that they're supposed to get up and go say hi to those people. Also, work on keeping them calm. A great way to make sure that you're doing this is keep a leash on them, right? I'm going to talk about this once I get to actually at the actual office site, but when you're practicing, have a leash on them, have people come up really excited, have your friends and family be super silly and over the top so that your dog learns, even though there's excitement around, there's a lot of like bustling and movement, that you still stay calm. And that's okay for them. They don't have to go to a heightened level of excitement just because there's things around them that are exciting. A big one is if you travel to work, whether like you're going to an office or you're going to different sites because you work in different locations, maybe you're like a utility worker, make sure your dog is comfortable in the car before you plop them in the car and take them to work. Because if they're not comfortable in the car and you throw them in there and take them to work, now you're having a bad imprint, a negative imprint before you even get to work. So your dog could either be really excited or really anxious. You really want to work on making sure that they're comfortable in the car, right? Place work can help with that. Then we transition the place work concept to the car. If you have room in your car, you could put a place board in there. I do that often and have the dog actually stay on the place board. I've used crates in a car before to help a dog feel safe and secure instead of just on a seat. For some dogs that can be a lot. Some dogs like to go on the floor. The important thing is that you practice this. Take your dog in the car, put them in, bring them out, then leave them be, right? Then put them back in. Make it positive, give them some kind of fantastic treat, then drive around with them. Just make sure they're comfortable in the car. And a big one is exposure to sounds of the office or your workspace. So whatever that, so like if you actually work in an office, it could be like a stapler or doors opening and shutting, people typing on a keyboard, phones ringing, a lot of talking, like background noise, talking. Some dogs are weird with like a microwave sound, so like a microwave dinging, because they're like, what should I, does that mean I need to go somewhere? Think about your office, whether you're inside or out. Really be mindful about new sounds that they might be exposed to. And what you can do is go on YouTube, and YouTube has amazing sounds. I use sounds on there of crying babies. There's construction noises. There's so many different sound clips on YouTube, and practice that. Get your dog comfortable around those noises. Have them understand that it's not a big deal. You still just stay relaxed even with all of these noises. So that's some key ideas for the foundational aspect. I hope you're getting the idea though, that what it's about is thinking about the bigger picture. Think about what you're taking your dog into and start setting them up to succeed. Get them prepared and so they know what to expect, so it's not all new on that day. So let's talk about preparing for the actual day, the day of. Super important. We talk about this. You've learned this with your Halo training. It's fulfill your dog before you take them to work, before you put them in a car, which means satisfy them mentally and physically. It could be a nice walk. It could be, you can see some pictures on your screen where we have a snuffle mat that you can put their kibble and their food in there, where they actually have to use their nose to find the food. That's mental and it's physical because they're using their body, their nose to actually find it. Maybe your dog likes a game of fetch, a nice controlled game of fetch. Whatever it is, however you fulfill your dog, make sure you fulfill them mentally and physically, because then their energy will be drained and they'll be able to go in and relax at the office. If your dog tends to get a little car sick. This can happen. They can be comfortable in a car. I've worked with a lot of dogs who are fine in the car, but they get car sick. Don't feed them breakfast before putting them in the car. You can bring your food with you, and if your office allows it and your dog, so practice like the snuffle mat, for example. You can bring their breakfast with you and use a snuffle mat if your dog can be calm while using it. But that's a great way to then bring your dog to the office and even give them something to do and feed them at the office at the same time. So be mindful of that. A big important one. What are your office rules, or what are the rules of your work environment? Talk to your human resources or your boss. Find out exactly what they expect. Are you going to be able to take some breaks? Because you want to give your dog a break from just being in one place at one time. Is that going to be okay? Set yourself up to succeed so you know what the expectations are at your work site, so you're not getting in there and then people are getting upset because you're doing something that you shouldn't have done, and then that will trickle down to your dog. Be positive. We want to keep the day completely positive. And then think about what equipment to bring, right? So I mentioned the raised dog bed. I've talked about a snuffle mat. I also have some things here. So like this is a Kong toy. This is one type. The big thing, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the Kong brand. I think we have a link for it. But the big thing is that it has a bigger hole on one side and a smaller hole on the other. But what you can do with something like this is you can put like peanut butter in there and put it in the freezer the night before, put it in a little Ziploc and bring it with you. And this gives them something, they can chew on it, but then there's also something yummy in there that they can do while at the office, and I'll talk about that even more. These are like little chew toys. There's a bunch of cool chew things that are out there. What I like to do with something like this is I actually put it in like chicken broth or beef broth, something that is gonna have a good flavor. I soak it in there for a little while, and then I put this in the I put it in a Ziploc bag and I put it in the freezer. So again, it's something to chew, to occupy them, to help express energy, but it also then tastes good too. So as you're actually working wherever at your office or on your job site, then your dog is actually working on something too. And then we have, like you can bring some dog puzzles too. This is what's fun, is you get to figure out what could be fun for your dog. I like this one because it's soft and doesn't make a lot of noise. And they're like carrots, and then you put the food in here and put it back in, and your dog has to figure out how to get the carrot out and get in there and get the food. So it's, and then there's another type of puzzle. This one might be a little bit louder, so test it out. Test it out with your dog. I use Ziwi Peak. It's air-dried food. I use that as treats because I can break it up. It's this square, but I can break it up into little pieces. And this is like a puzzle where you actually put the food in these little pockets, and the dog has to move it around in order to get the food out. So this is a cool way to like feed your dog too in the morning, or to keep them occupied. But get yourself set up to succeed ahead of time. Purchase these things on Amazon or Chewy or wherever you purchase stuff, and find some things that you can actually bring with you that will occupy your dog, and kind of even so you fulfill them before you go, so you're able to fulfill them while you're actually at the office. And so then we're going to actually move on to the next phase. So you've done your foundational training, you've prepared for the day, you got yourself set up, you have yourself ready the night before. Now we're at the office, or at your job site. This is where you set them up for success. You think about where you're going to place the bed or the raised dog cot. Make sure that you bring a leash. I like to use, these are the slip leads that I use. They're from Mountain Dog. I don't know if you can see them, but they're just a slip lead. I've talked about slip leashes before, but they're really lightweight, and it can go up, he slides up and it goes up high on the neck. You always want to make sure you have your dog on leash. Even if your dog follows you like really good and stays with you, be respectful. There might be people at your office or at your job site or wherever you are that aren't super comfortable with dogs. Make sure you have them on a leash. And then you can also use this to tether them. And if you have a dog that's a chewer, you can actually get metal leashes, and they come in all different grades and sizes. You can get them even a little bit smaller than this, but this is great too because you can have your dog on their bed or on their raised dog cot, and you can tether them with this and they're not gonna chew through that. And it'll keep them in place, and that way if you're still working on them not greeting people at the door, now you've set them up to succeed because you've tethered them and they can't, go out the door. Make sure, like I said, be mindful of where you're putting the place board. Make sure that you have things. There's also, I love bully sticks. There's all different kinds. I believe we have a link for this too. But this tastes good and it can occupy them. And they just chew on this. I'm not a fan of rawhide because rawhide can cause obstructions and choking hazards. Bully sticks, even collagen sticks, they don't create that. I can take that. So this is one company that I like. I like to get the ones that are made in the USA because I just know they're usually higher quality. This is just one brand. This is Paws. But the thing I like about this is there's all different types. So they're braided, or they're like this, or they look like little bones. But that's a great thing to have. And so have that all on hand and time it out. Know when you're going to start presenting these things to your dog, or just have them available so that if your dog does start to seem like they're getting a little unsettled, a little restless, that you have something that you can give to them. You can bring a water bowl as well. Just be mindful of how much water you give them, because when they drink, they're going to have to go to the bathroom. So be mindful of how often you're able to take them outside. Make sure you educate your coworkers as well, right? Just let them know if you do have a dog that you're still working on excitement issues with, that's okay, but just let your coworkers know. Advocate for your dog, right? Or if you have a dog that's a little bit more nervous and it takes just a little bit more time for them to get comfortable with people, let your coworkers know. Hey, you can come in and see my dog, but maybe don't go right up to my dog right away. You can come in and say hi, but I'd appreciate it if you don't come in with super high energy. If you come in, or instead of saying what you don't want, you can tell them, if you can come in and just be nice and calm, that'll really help, because I know they're going to be really excited to see people, so you could help me train them and keep them calm. So advocate for your dog and use your coworkers' kind of ego to your advantage, to where like, you can help me. People like to hear that they can help, as opposed to don't do this, right? Like I started saying it, like, don't get too excited around my dog. Even I can make that mistake, but it's better to tell them what to do and how they can help, because people like to be helpful, and they're gonna most people are gonna like having your dog at work. It's a cool day. So they're gonna wanna know how they can make that day happen, how they can be helpful, and how they can share it with you as well. But it really is your job to advocate for your dog. Don't feel bad about saying what you need. It's really important, because your dog can't say it. I mean, they'll say it, but it might not be in a language that you want them to speak at the office, or in a language that other people are going to be able to understand. So hopefully this is all making sense. What I really hope is that this has gotten your creative juices flowing, that you're thinking about, ooh, okay, this could be a really great day. This could be a really great opportunity for me to spend some special time with my dog, to share my dog with my coworkers. But okay, I know that I need to have a plan, and it's already starting. You're already creating that game plan for you and your dog. Now this is gonna be my favorite part about Take Your Dog to Work Day, is how can you use the halo collar to help you? In so many ways. The halo collar is amazing. Whether you're working in the office, or you work outside, or you work from home. If you work from home, your halo collar literally is keeping your dog safe. Your dog can be outside enjoying the great outdoors while you work inside. Both of you are doing your own thing, really enjoying what you're doing. Hopefully you enjoy your work. And you have peace of mind knowing that your dog is safe because they understand what the halo collar is communicating with them, and they have learned to respect those boundaries. You can do this as well if you work outside, like if you're a utility worker or you work on a farm or a ranch or anything like that. Remember, your fences travel with you. You can have multiple fences on your app. You can literally have like a work fence, right? Or multiple work fences. What if you're a lifeguard and you're allowed to take your dog to work on Take Your Dog to Work Day? Amazing. Set up a fence around wherever you're stationed, whether, if it's a lifeguard tower or whatever, set that fence up. Yes, it works at the beach, right? It's amazing. It works anywhere. So you can literally know that you can keep your dog safe. They're not going to run off. The important thing is, if you're creating a fence for the first time at your job site, or really anywhere for that matter, make sure that you walk around with it and that you are certain that you have the boundary set where you want it set, that you're actually you're getting the feedback on the collar. And then with a leash, bring your dog around as well. Bring them around that area so that they have an understanding. The dogs create mental maps. They create mental maps in their head. So help them create that mental map in their head of the fence line, the boundary line. And then once you do that, you've already done the hard work of helping them understand what the collar is communicating with them. But just take a few extra minutes to do that, to set them up to succeed. Then you know that you're going to be safe. If you work outside, you can use your outdoor beacons if there's areas that you don't want your dog to go in. For instance, if you work at a golf course and there's the pond or the sand traps, you can use your beacon to keep your outdoor beacon to keep your dog away from those specific areas. If you do work in an office, go out at lunchtime. Plan to go out at lunchtime. See if there's a park or something around your area, and you can set up, if it's an off-leash safe area and the laws admit it or allow it, you can set up a halo fence at a park area and play a nice game of fetch with your dog or a fun game of find it. That's something that you want to do as well to set your dog up to succeed. You're not going to just keep them in one space, whether it's in an office or wherever you're working. You need to get them out. So take some breaks, but take a nice long lunch break so you can get out with your dog. And remember that you can use the halo collar or the beacons to keep your dog safe in one area or keep them away from something specific that you don't want them to be around. And then everyone's one of the favorite things about halo collar is the return whistle, right? So magical. When you really get that training set in, your dog just knows what to do as soon as they hear that whistle. It just means come back to you. So whether you're working from home and it's time for you to take your lunch break, you can use that return whistle and get your dog to come in from outside, connect with them, engage with them, and then you can go outside and you get your outdoor break and some time to hang out with your dog. Or if you do take them out at lunch and you're letting them have some free time too, right? Just bringing them outside and letting them be a part of nature, whether you have a leash on them or if it's not safe to be completely off leash, you could get a long line. There's long leashes that are 10, 15, 20, 30 feet, so that you can give your dog some freedom away from you, and you can even practice your return whistle somewhere where they're not used to going. So you're actually doing two things at once. You're giving your dog freedom, and you're actually reinforcing and practicing with the return whistle, and it's gonna actually sink in what they are supposed to do, sink in that association of when they hear that return whistle, they automatically come back to you. The more places that you can do that in, the more it sinks in that association, and it just becomes a behavior habit that they no longer even think about. So you get to go outside, enjoy the outside. You're with your dog, enjoying your dog. Your dog gets to go outside and they're gonna enjoy being outside. They get some freedom. You can keep them safe either with the fence, create a fence or on a long line, and then use a return whistle to bring them back. So I hope that this has made sense. I hope that you can see how Take Your Dog to Work Day can be just magical. It can be a lot of fun, but also you do need to set yourself and your dog up to succeed so that it is a really nice day. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. I hope it's been informative, and I look forward to hearing how it went if you actually take your dog to work next week. Join me next week as well, and have a great week, everyone.